All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Green White Checker TV. It is here, Season 7 for Area 51 Racing League Superspeedway Cup Series. Going to kick off Season 7 for the league. Tonight we are at iRacing Superspeedway. As you see, all the races will be 75 laps is the scheduled distance. So I'll say I'll be cycling between iRacing Superspeedway, Daytona, and Talladega, rinse and repeat. However, going to have a little bit difference this season compared to last season in a few ways. First of which is it's still going to be a 12 race season. However, we are going to have a playoff here, so say we'll get that pulled up as well. So as you can see there, you've got the nine regular season races, and I believe one of those, the worst race of the drivers, will get dropped, which will then bring it into the top 8 will race to make the final 4. So as you can see, the final 8 will be at iRacing and Daytona, followed by the finale at Talladega. And the other big change here that's going on here with Season 7 is the addition of, so we're switching things up a little bit and having some teams now. So say I'll show you that as well. And so say team names are subject to change, but as you can see, let's say their league's trying something a little bit new here. And so what's going to happen is each team has 4 drivers, and it's going to be the best 2 drivers for the average finish, and that's going to be the team points on that side of things. So as you can see, our first group with Gabe Butler, Dude Conrad, James Ledford, Nick Winook. Then you got Kevin Fries, Chad Wilkes, Paul Patterson, John Brill, Raymond Rittenauer, Kevin Hash, Kyle Hess, Todd Siebels, Eric Laurie, Bud Steele, Quabi Brooks, Nick Manfredi, Brandon Pasalacqua, Roy Grande, Dale Willoughby, Christopher Wiggins. Then you got Matt Quick, Robbie Richards, Michael Spell, Mitchell Wilkes, Travis Turnmeyer, Todd Merkel, Trevor White, Alberto Miguel Lopez, Dean Wilkinson, Charles Johnson, Mark Brown, Randy Miner, and Jim Brooks, Matt Wagner, BJ Hash, and Charlie Elmore. So those are going to be the groups of teams of 4. Again, I say as long as they have 2 drivers in, they'll be able to at least get their points there. Obviously, the more the better, because if one of your drivers has a bad race, you can fall back on the other 3. So that's going to be the goal on that side of things. And the other thing that's going on for that as well is, say that the winner of the team championship will win $200 split between them. So obviously, 4 drivers, so it'll be $50 between the 4 drivers. So pretty good incentive to try to work with your teammates here. So we'll pull this guy back up as well. So I say the other thing we do have, as you can see, is a $30 buy-in for the season. Every race, though, if you win, you get $15. Second place gets $10. Third place gets $5. And then $150 goes to this overall season champion, alongside with the team championship as well. Still going to be just the 1 faster pair, and they are also limiting the tire sets, which shouldn't come into play here, but there will be 3 tire sets that come into play this evening. And while I was talking about all of that, we've just finished up qualifying, which means it's time to go over our starting grid for tonight's event. So on pole position, going to be that number 87 of Raymond Rittenauer. So no surprise to see him towards the front in qualifying. Same thing goes here for Kevin Fries. And you've got Kevin Hash, Dude Conrad, Travis Turnmeyer, Charles Johnson, Dale Willoughby, and Gabe Butler in the top 8. 9th through 16th here, you've got Bud Steele, Chad Wilkes, Dean Wilkinson, Matt Wagner, James Ledford, Todd Merkel, Nicholas Winook, Eric Laurie. 17th through 24th, Mark Brown, Brandon Pasalacqua, Randy Miner, Roy Grande, Charles Elmer, Quabi Brooks, Nick Manfredi, Craig Forsyth. 25th through 32nd, Alberto Miguel Lopez, Michael Spell, Todd Siebels, Paul Patterson, Kyle Hess, Mitchell Wilkes, Robbie Richards, and Jim Brooks. And the remainder of the grid here, Bobby Hash, Trevor White, and John Brill. So like I mentioned, a lot of cars taking part this evening. So what we're going to be looking for is it's going to be, I'd say, obviously going to be a lot of learning to try to figure out which drivers are working with which teams. It's going to take a little bit of time to get familiar with all of them as well, for myself, and also, of course, for all of you watching. So I know there is one team that they've got some match and paint jobs. Actually, you can see them on the screen there. The number 9 of Charles Johnson. So they've set up as Team Mad Dog. So let's try to see if I can get a better angle of that car. It's kind of hard to catch right now at the moment. Once they get rolling, we can get a better look at it. But most of that team running matching paint scheme, so it'll be a little easier to find those guys. as field's rolling off here to get things underway. So again, race distance is scheduled for 75 laps. Do have the potential for the up to 3 green-white checkered finish attempts. And fuel in those sounds like it's in the low 20s, maybe 22 or so, might be around the max depending on how much you save. You might be able to stretch it out to a little further. However, here at iRacing Superspeedway, speeds are so fast, it's really difficult to try to save fuel in these cars. So we'll have to keep an eye and see if that comes into play as well, because once they're all going in the draft, the speeds are going to be up in the range of 240 plus. And so it's going to, well, let's say it's going to definitely make it difficult to save fuel, but it's definitely still something I think we will see for sure. Say we'll have to keep an eye on some of the drivers here. And so I did notice there were a few drivers in here that were not on that list of teams, so there may be some late team additions. I'll say as the season kind of keeps growing, I'm sure they'll be kind of adding and changing things up as the season goes. So we'll try to keep track of that as best we can here. Field's coming through, about to hit the start, not start finish, hit the pit road entry. You see the pace car peel off. That's going to hand it over to our front row of Raymond Rittenauer and Kevin Fries. And say again, we've got a lot of teammates up front here. So you see as they get going under green, you see a little bit of tire spin even on the fresh tire. So that's going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on there. So I'm sure the drivers were not expecting that, but it looks like everybody's going to get away with it. See one blinking a little bit towards the back of the field. Drivers have to be a little bit careful there, but so far so good here as they go into turn one for the first time. As they're coming through the backstretch now, first time Raymond Rittenauer, he is up front. He's got help from Kevin Hash. On the inside, outside, you've got Kevin Fries and Dude Conrad there, Charles Johnson right behind as well. So again, we talked about the new setup of the teams and everything like that, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about right now. So you've kind of got the usual suspects up front here, say with the top 7 or so all being part of that original the team boot knocker. So say it's going to be curious to see, as you can see that 25 able to clear to the front there. So he will get that first lap led and then able to slide in front in front of Raymond Rittenauer.
To change this year, or it should change this year. You got some guys landing in different places, namely Koabi Brooks in that 53 car, landing with some really top-notch drivers from last season.
Yes, and that's going to be the thing to keep an eye on. And so I say I'm looking at the group right now, and so you've got right now top 3 or top 4, I should say, all are on different teams here. So I'm going to be trying to look at this as much as I can. Actually, I look at 3rd and 4th on the inside line there. Raymond Rittenauer, Kevin Hash. Those two are teammates this season, so those are going to be two that are working well together here so far. But right now, I'd say a lot of the teammates kind of split up just a little bit here. But as I say that, though, I mean, you got Dude Conrad on the inside line there in the 8, the one that gave Butler to his outside. So I'll say it's going to take us a little bit of time to get familiar with kind of the drivers and the teams and all that. But I say again, I mean, that's kind of be part of our job to get familiar with it. I actually see that Eric Lowry makes a big move to the inside there. And say that is the 071 car. You see John Deere machine. He's got a little bit of a different paint scheme this season. So kind of a little bit of a darker paint scheme on that 071. So coming through the front stretch back into turn number 1 here. I say last time by Charles Johnson able to take the lead. You see the 17 there, Chad Wilkes. I say Chad, one of the Cup Series regulars. He's kind of making his force reckoned with early here in the Superspeedway Cup Series. You can see he's working right behind that number 1 of Gabe Butler. I say I'm trying to check our team list here, and I say nope, they are not teammates. So again, I think just work. Oh, actually, I think that 17 may have blown the mirror. We got a big wreck up front, right in front of the whole field. We have a lot of carnage here, a lot of cars taken out under this incident here. So unfortunate cars still piling into it. Caution is out. There's going to be a lot of, we see cars flipping over. So parking lot right now in turn 4. And so, yeah, a lot of damaged cars here. A lot of drivers are going to have to either take a tow or try to limp this thing back to the pits. But that was a big incident there, and I think it may have started with one of those drivers overheating and blowing their motor just in front of the pack, unfortunately.
Yeah, and like you say, a lot of cars collected, and that's how this big track goes. It's a lot bigger and a lot faster than even Talladega and Daytona. And when these incidents happen, they happen quick and collect a lot of guys.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly what happened. Chad Wilkes blows the motor in front of the field here. So there's nothing he can do. You can see immediate contact behind him, and from there he's just trying to hang on to it. And then you can see Raymond Rittenauer, Kevin Hash, Brandon Pasalacqua. Say honestly, at this point, it's gonna be easier to tell you who wasn't involved. Looks like Todd Merkel may have just squeaked through there. I think he might be one of the luckiest ones so far in this incident here. So we're watching, trying to keep an eye on who all's getting through. This 20 car actually looks like he may have made a nice move to get through as well. But yeah, so say a lot of cars caught up in this one. Also see, I'm trying to catch the car number there. It's the red and white. I think it's the 71 actually. That's Mitchell Wilkes. I think Mitchell made some pretty big moves to get through that as well. But like I said, though, a lot of carnage here. You see the 14 going up and over there. So you're trying to catch the name on that one. That is Trevor White. And you say still barrel rolls down the front stretch here, or into off of turn number 4. So huge incident here at iRacing Superspeedway. Again, only on lap number 5 there. Say nothing intentional or anything like that, Dale. Just unfortunately, just a blown motor. Say the drafting maybe just got a little too hot at the wrong time, and that's all she wrote there.
And you're talking, I was watching from the 17 car. He went from about 250 to about 235 in an instant, mid corner, and 15-mile-an-hour speed drop. The people behind you just can't react.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So say pit stops just came through right now. Say a few drivers staying out. One of those being, it looks like the, actually let me jump up front here. I think Craig Forsyth might be the first one that's staying out there in the 131. Matt Wagner also in that group. Say these guys, I mean, I say we know Craig pretty well. We know Matt pretty well. Say fixtures of the Indy series. I say those two drivers very quick in those cars. So they're pulling a little bit of strategy call here so far here tonight at the Superspeedway Cup Series side of things. So, but yeah, right now though, it looks like those two are the only drivers staying out under this caution at the moment that I can see. At least, let's say I'm going to poke around and make sure if anybody else stayed out there. But yeah, a few big moves. I mean, Mitchell Wilkes, I don't know how he got through that, but great heads up by him to get through that. A little bit of right rear damage, but honestly, I think he's going to get away with that pretty cleanly here.
Like Craig and Matt's down on the apron here. I don't know. Not sure what they're planning.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on there. Say maybe something. I thought I saw him go around on track, so I'm not sure if maybe they're wanting the pit and they made it, because again, this is on the Super Speedway series. Tracks larger than 2 miles. You basically, it's a quick pit, so we're going to see the lights come off in the pace car here. So there's a handful of drivers coming back into the pit, some possibly for the first time. So I'm a little worried about possible pit penalties for them. So I'll have to keep an eye on that, but. After everything that happened, now we still have 30 cars. It looks like about 30 in the lead lap, possibly 29. And then I'm seeing about 5 or 6 that are trapped 1 down now. But again, though, I mean, a lot of fast repairs used there, so it's really going to change kind of the strategy and game plan for some of these drivers after all that damage they just got. Yeah, so I know, say, see him in the chat, say, unfortunately, one driver we don't see on track that, I'll say some of the competitors probably won't miss because they'll say they don't have to compete a bit against them this season. It's going to be the 83 of Jack Walls. Jack's taking a break this season from Area 51. Definitely look forward to seeing Jack again soon, but I think some of these guys might be breathing a sigh of relief. It's like, oh, okay, well, at least we don't have to fight with that 83 car, because I'll say, especially at these plate races, I'll say Jack was always one to contend with as well. One of the few, actually, of the non Bootknocker team drivers that was able to get a win in season 6.
Yeah, and Jack always drives that bright yellow Pennzoil vehicles. I mean, you can always see him coming, and that can be quite intimidating when you know a guy like Jack with that much skill. You can see him from a ways back coming through the crowd.
Yeah, so I'll say say obviously a few drivers able to sneak through that wreck. Obviously the ones in front of it. The only thing was, I mean, that happened pretty much towards the towards the front of the field. We saw that 17 pushing to get to the front with the draft that he had with him. So I say it did take out a lot of cars there. So again, luckily for the one faster pair, it's going to bring a lot of drivers back into the mix here. So now we're just going to be waiting for this green flag to get back underway, and that's going to leave things off with that 25 of Kevin Freeze. Behind him, you see the 8 Duke Conrad. Outside, you got Charles Johnson with Gabe Butler there.
Yeah, they get a great restart there on the bottom, and they're nose to tail going into one immediately.
Yeah, you see also Gabe Butler wasted no time, straight to the bottom as soon as he saw that opening. And see Charles Johnson, unfortunately, kind of hung out to dry here. You really don't want to be up top on these restarts at this track. You just aren't up to speed in time there. And so you can see now he's going to find that opening. He's going to drop to the inside here, right in front of Eric Laurie. I say, well, field in the back there, all kind of spreading out just a little bit here.
Yep, nose to tail for about the head 7 or 8, maybe 10 it looks like now. Not normally what we see at this track. It's so wide you can run side by side pretty much all the way around.
Yeah, I think what's happening here is just needing to build up some momentum to then make the move to go forward. But I think we're going to see here, though, I mean, again, we talked about, I think it might be almost like unofficial teammates now with the new series adjustments and everything. So I think these guys are maybe thinking, hey, if we work together, we can stay out front and maybe stay away from the trouble at this point in the race. Because we're definitely not at the cash payout time of the race here. As we're only on lap number 967 still to go, and I believe still 3 pit stops to go as well, somewhere in that range. Again, 75 lap total distance. They pitted right there about, what was that, lap about 5. So I don't see anybody being able to make it on a 2-stopper from here with that 22 lap window.
Mentioned unofficial teammates, and I've heard Cup drivers talk about that. Namely, there was an interview with Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s interviewing him. He said, hey, we always ended up linking up at the plate tracks. I think that's because we thought a lot alike and we had the same idea on how to do it. And you'll see that with these old teammates who have raced with each other for so long. They think alike. They have the same philosophy on how to race these big tracks.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, that's the thing is, there's going to be a couple trains of thought. I mean, do you want to drag back and get to your teammates and work with them to try to get to the front, or do you keep yourself? I mean, again, it's the best 2 results. So if you can have, let's say, Kevin Freeze, I mean, if he can stay out front and pull off a win this evening, obviously still a long ways to go. I mean, he's doing the best he can for his teammates, even if it does mean working with his regular teammates from last season. So I mean, there's a lot of potentials to see here. I mean, one of the drivers you see that's in this little mix though right now is that number 33, Nick Lanook. So he's right now in the mix with these guys, right, sitting in the 4th position there. Kind of one of the, like I said, kind of like the odd man out here of those teammates from last season. But also another one here, a new addition to the league there, the number 20. It's Alberto Miguel Lopez. I'll say he's relatively new. I think this is probably his first race with the league, and really strong start for him. Started 25th up into that 8th position. Saying I'm a little biased to say, obviously, I love retro paint schemes, so that Joe Gibbs, Dale Jarrett interstate battery scheme always one of my favorites.
Yeah, we got a second line starting to form. It looks like got the 14 jump tie, and maybe the 86 followed him up there.
Yeah, it's like they're thinking about it. I think they might be thinking opposite, because actually that's Trevor White in the 18. He's one of the first drivers that's 1 lap down, so he's got a fight here. He wants to be that first car 1 down, so he's gonna have to watch out, because actually now that I say that, James Ledford, he's gonna take over that first car 1 down position in the 48 machine. These guys are ones that had to take a tow there. So say obviously right now for James, his goal is to try to be that first car 1 down in case of another caution, of course without being involved in it. And yeah, that second line is starting to form a little further up now. Charles Johnson, he's got help from that 20, also bringing the 81 of Todd Merkel in there as well. So they're definitely starting to make a pretty big push up on that top side.
5 goes way high. I thought he was going to tag the wall.
Yeah, and that's the worry about that. When you're on that top side, it's hard to stay right behind somebody and still push them and hold that line. So unfortunately, I was kind of in that situation myself in one of our league races last night, where I was trying to push a teammate up to the front, and so you enter on the top side behind somebody, but you're just so afraid of the inside line washing up that you just give them too much room, and so it's really risky.
Yeah, and it seems like, the further up the track you get here, the bigger that push is So I mean, once he started up there, I mean, I thought it was game over for him, honestly.
Yeah, you can see, Nick Winook just able to squeeze back in front of that number 54, or sorry, it's 51 of Travis Turnmeyer. So right now, I'd say that second line definitely starting to form back up, getting that 20, giving a big push here. So we'll hop on board with that 20 front, take a look. I'll say the only thing I wish we could see here, Dale, is I wish we, even as announcers, we could see that oil temp, water temp, because it would tell us so much. So unfortunately, we don't have. Say it's one of those things that it allow other people to spy on people and get insight that maybe they don't want to share. So say it's one of those things. Only so much you can give out, but that's going to be the thing to be careful about. So that number 20 of Alberto Miguel Lopez, he's going to have to be careful. We already saw it once. He's going to want to try to help the 9 get him to the front. He's got to make sure he keeps a close eye on that water temp. You see, he jumps to the top side here. I think that may not be him trying to make a pass. The other thing is just him trying to get those temps back down there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, you see him tuck back in, and I'm pretty sure the 9 knows what's going on. He didn't really take any evasive action or anything to try to stop a run. That once the temps get high, you got to step out, but they do cool down pretty quick once you're in clean air.
Yeah, so you get clean air in that car going 240 miles an hour. Those temps get much better, much quicker. Almost a big moment there. It looked like the 18 of Roy Crandon kind of washed up a little bit. I think it was a 3-wide move there. Kind of washed up into Michael Spell. Michael had to go way high. May have scuffed the wall a little bit, but the car looks okay from where I'm looking at. So I think he may have gotten away with it. But yeah, definitely a very close call though there for that 88 car. The Lucky Dog battle still pretty heated here. See the 48 there, James Ledford. He's right there on the top side. He's still trying to hold on to that spot over the 14 of Trevor White. So right now James is up on the top side. Trevor's on the inside line. So really, it's just all about who gets the better momentum. That's going to be really kind of deciding factor of who winds up where. The other thing I haven't mentioned is the group has really split up here. So we got this main pack here of about, it looks like, what are we at here? 16 drivers, I believe. Then we got to jump back to Raymond Rittenauer in the 87. He's leading the second pack here. He's got Kevin Hash with him. And then you see the 131, Craig Forsyth right there as well, along with the 21, Brendan Pasalacqua, Jim Brooks. So say some pretty big names and pretty fast drivers here, but they're about 7 seconds off the lead pack here, and their lap times are not quite as quick as that front group being led by Kevin Freeze.
Kind of questioning, I was looking at that and kind of questioning maybe what their strategy is. It's tough, especially being that far off. It's tough to catch the pack, and we haven't really seen this done, or at least I have not seen this done here, where you break up into 2 packs and run the leaders down. You see it at Talladega and Daytona. I just haven't seen it done here yet.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little more difficult here when you're going as fast as you are. You see Gabe Butler, he's jumped to the top with help from Nick Winook. I also got that 20 again. He's still not giving up as well, so that top line really starting to form a little bit. So again, now if you're Nick, you got to be careful for those temperatures. You see him try to stagger off of the one a little bit through the turns here. Gabe is just barely clear there of Kevin Freeze. Let's see if he drops to the inside. Looks like he will sneak on in there. I think he's just barely going to lead that lap as you see the 33 and the 20. Now they hook up and gives that 33 a big push here down the front.
How you going to make it? He's going to lose the momentum through the middle of the corner. That 20's not quite up on his bumper. I'm sure he'll get there down the backstretch.
Yeah, I say it's again, only so much you can do. Don't want to get too hot. So I say it's kind of that risk versus reward like we mentioned. So you can push hard and you can make some pretty big time. You just got to really keep an eye on that oil and water temperature. I think it's usually the oil that gets hot first, and then once that oil gets up into the red, the water pretty much just spikes right afterward. And I've heard a few drivers mention before as well where you can get up to the 280s, maybe touch 290 as long as if you get it back down, you can cool off. But I've heard if you get it up to 300, even if it doesn't blow, then it sounds like it's kind of you're just at the mercy of when it might happen, or it just might blow at any time. So you got to be real careful there. You see James Ledford on 17 also really close there off of 2. Chad Wilkes able to get off the back bumper of that 48 car. Really close call there. However, with all that's happened, I think that's allowed the 14 again, though. Trevor White, he's now back in front of that 48 to be that first car one down as they run here. Oh, contact entering 3 there. Saw the 8 and 33 make contact. You see almost 4 wide here through 3 and 4.
Yeah, incredible that they were able to hang on to that. You know, these cars are about 60 mile an hour faster than we're used to at the other plate tracks. Good move on everybody involved.
Yeah, it was really quick hands there by Dude Conrad and the 8 machine, able to hang on to it. You can see again, though, he follows right behind Charles Johnson entering the turn, but just gets a little too high on the entry, and that's going to open the door for those guys. And I say he's going to lose a handful of spots here before he can find a spot to sneak back in. See, up front, not too much has changed. You see, we mentioned Gabe Butler. He's gotten back to the front there in that number 1 machine. Say again, we talked about kind of the usual suspects up front. You've got the 1, the 25, the 51, and the 071. I'll say, but again, though, right now the 5th car in line, though, is that 14 again, Trevor White. He's 1 lap down, but he's in prime position. Should something happen, say he would be in position for that lucky dog. And right now, so he's got just a little bit of a buffer. You can see you're actually just 1 car between himself and the 48 James Ledford on the inside line. Actually, I'm sorry, Dale. I haven't mentioned Robbie Richards there. He's right there in between the two of them. I'll say Robbie started 31st, and he's up into that 6th position. So again, I mean, we know you can make big moves here at the plate tracks, but he's one of the few that started in the back that's worked his way all the way up, right at that top 5 area.
Yeah, and I didn't see who all was in that wreck. There were so many cars, but if he made it through there, I mean, that just made the work super easy.
Yeah, I'm saying also kind of leaves him sitting a little pretty too, to be able to have that one in the bank if you need it as well. We've definitely seen those have come into play and really help drivers out in the end of the races where maybe they get caught up in something, or we've seen before too where maybe you get damage repaired manually, not quite enough to get your speed all the way back, so you got to use it the next time around, and then you're able to kind of keep back with the pack.
Yeah, and maybe, you use that as a little bit of a strategy as the 14 falls way back. You get a little bit of damage and you can push, but you can't be a leader. And then on that last stop, you use that fast repair to get that damage fixed, and all of a sudden you're leading the race.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it doesn't lose any time when you do it. So you see also the 17 of Chad Wilkes. He's back into this lead pack. He's made a really good recovery. Unfortunately, he was the one that kind of triggered that first incident when his motor blew in front of the pack there. Once it blew up, there's just nothing he could do. Like I said, he lost so much speed in just no time that unfortunately they got into the back of him, and around he went in front of the field. But he's right now showing right outside the top 5 here. And again, still mentioning the second group led by Raymond Rittenauer. They're still holding about 9 seconds back, it looks like. Again, as you can see, though, they just aren't as well organized up at the front as the other team is. So still a long ways to go. So, I mean, it might be kind of a blessing in disguise if something does happen up front. They can kind of feel a little bit safer here. However, the next thing, though, we got Dale coming up in about another lap or 2, maybe a few more than that. We're going to have pit stops here very shortly, and that's where things are really going to get interesting.
Yeah, narrow, and strange pit road entrance, and you're just carrying so much speed on those tracks. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's a very narrow pit entry. You're going from 240. I'm saying that's not an exaggeration. These cars dropped to about 240 in the draft in the turns. And you got to get down to, I believe it's 65 with that big banking transition as well. And like I said, into a very narrow pit entry here in a very small amount of time as well. I mean, you see turn 4 and then you get the pit entry pretty much right afterwards. So you almost wonder if they should have maybe staggered the pit entry out a little further away because you have the room down these long front straightaways. But it definitely makes it interesting, and it definitely keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, the closest like cup track I can compare it to as far as the entry, the width of it, is Indy, and it's going to be a little wider than that. But I mean, that's what it feels like to me when you're coming in here, just like pitting at Indianapolis. Yeah,
actually, Indy is a very good comparison, like you said, because you've got the barrels at the inside of the attenuator, I believe it's called. So, yeah, it's a very risky. Actually, it looks like a couple drivers peeling off here a little early. I think this is one of those maybe damage avoidance pit stops for Roy Grandy here. You see he does get slowed down, but the other risk as well is the brake bias. This car, for whatever reason, it's really easy to get kind of the, maybe not wheel hop, but it's easy to get the back to step out on the pit entry as well. I've seen that myself, where I have to actually dial a little bit more front brake into the car for the pits at this track, even more so than usual than like a Daytona Talladega. But What I'm seeing here, you see the 51, he's jumping to the top. I think this might be a sign that the 1 and the 25 are going to come in, and I think Travis Termeyer, he's going to go one more lap. And yeah, here it goes. Oh, we got contact in the back. You see Eric Laurie, he gets hit from behind. He's going to hang on to it, but we got trouble behind him, and that is going to bring out a caution. That's kind of what we're afraid of there during that pit stop cycle.
Yeah, like we talked about it, just so much speed off 4, and that's what happened there. Just it's so tough. It's the toughest pit entry on iRacing.
Yeah, it's just extremely difficult to try to get woed down in front of all those cars. So I'm trying to catch where the contact began. I think it was the 101. I believe Randy Miner was maybe one of the first ones to make some contact. You can see everybody's trying to get woed up here, and you can see just too much steam. He gets into the back of the 071, and then from there he gets hit from behind from the 33, and then the 6 of Bud Steele. And actually the caution comes out because you see Bud Steele, he spins back out on track. And say we'll see. Hopefully everybody's able to avoid the 6 car as well. As you see the rest of the field trying to get through. You see the 8 of Dude Conrad. He gets into the side of the 33, right into the door. Also James Ledford, he was pitting there as well. I think James is going to get away with it. But it looks like Bud's going to also just a little bit of damage, but able to just kind of slide around and get back going again. So a big break for him. But I think the biggest break of all is going to go to... I was going to say the 14, but it might be the 18 here. We'll have to keep an eye of those two because we mentioned Roy pitted a lap early. So we'll have to see. I think actually looks like it might go to that 14 here. Trevor White, that might get him back onto the lead lap here.
I'll tell you who I think the biggest break goes to. All those guys that get to pit under yellow flag conditions now.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good choice there. Say Travis Turnmeyer, he's feeling good. So he was able to stay out that extra lap, get a lap lead, and then now be able to make a pit under caution there. So you see him hit the pits there from the lead. I think we'll see the 1 and the 25. I'll say they'll stay out here. They were able to get their pit stop done. They were in the pits before the incident happened, so they were able to get in and out without losing a lap. I believe Eric Laurie in the 071, he may have gotten the same benefit as well. And actually, I don't know if he used the fast repair or not, because that car looks pretty clean still. So we'll have to keep an eye on him as well. But yeah, it looks like those 3 are going to be the ones to kind of cycle back out up front here after all is said and done. And yeah, so it looks like Trevor White did get the wave around. He is back onto the lead lap, which will now leave us just a few drivers trapped, one down. Which actually I'm looking, I see James Ledford here. It's showing him like as if he's on the tail end lead lap, but I think it just hasn't updated correctly. So I think Roy Grandy, Brendan Pasalacqua, James Ledford, Paul Patterson, and Randy Miner, I believe, are all going to be trapped down a lap here.
Yeah, I'm going to say Eric definitely used a fast repair. He got into the back of the 25 hard. That was actually like the first contact I noticed was they got into it and then everything stacked up a little later down the road, but he had pretty severe front and rear end damage coming to pit.
Okay, yeah, so that makes you wonder about the 25. Kevin Freese, he may have used one as well then. I'll say the back end of that car looks very clean as well. So yeah, so that's what we talked about. That was probably going to be the point of those things happening. And I'm looking at the fuel window here. We're on 47, going to be coming around 46, which will be a restart with 45 to go. Again, this is all based on it going green, but there's a potential. Could someone try to stretch this and make it a one-stopper to the end? It's going to ask a lot of fuel savings from these drivers, but we've seen crazier before. I did see Dale Willoughby, Eric Laurie. They went ahead and topped off, so we'll keep an eye on that. It looks like a few others jumping in with them as well. But yeah, I think the big thing, though, is those guys that had fallen off the lead pack. It's going to be a big break for them, as they're going to be able to kind of cycle back up in the draft, and we'll see if this time if they can hold on to that front pack. So we'll jump around here. Kyle Hess, he's out up in the top 10 from 29th position in that 86 machine. Also, another one to mention is Todd Siebels. Let's say Todd's, I believe, also a new addition to the league. 27th to 9th right now for that 45 car, so he's having a really good start here as well. I'll say there's a few new faces like we mentioned. A few maybe not new faces, but maybe new in the sense of haven't run this series before. But say, Dale, I have a car for you to check out. It's gonna be that number 3 of Bobby Hash. Say it looks like it's a barn find Dale Earnhardt machine. You see, kind of got the rust on the roof and the hood, kind of on the sides as well. It's a pretty cool looking paint scheme that he was able to get together here for this race here tonight. But yeah, say Bobby also one of those new additions. I'm gonna guess there's a relation with Bobby Hash to Kevin Hash, but say maybe we'll get some interviews in the future. We can find that out.
Yeah, it does. It looks like it, like you say, was just drug out of the barn, had some water dripping on it. That's a really good looking and creative ride.
All right, about to get back underway here. You see one heading into the pits there. I think that's Randy Miner, and we are back underway again. You see immediately the 25 he drops to the inside again. I think that's what we're going to see on these restarts. Whoever's on the outside is going to try to find their way in as quick as possible. But right now you can see though that inside line able to form pretty quickly there. I say Gabe Butler, Kevin Freese, Travis Termeyer able to grab those top 3 spots. Then again, Chad Wilkes, he's back up into 4th. And again, we mentioned Robbie Richards right there as well, Charles Johnson, Todd Merkel. So I see these guys working their way back up front here. So we'll just have to keep an eye now on the groups and see if they kind of split up a good bit like we saw them do last time.
Yeah, looking back here toward that 87 car, Raymond Rittenauer, looks like they might be doing the same thing. The gap's growing back there, and these guys are kind of falling back a little bit, so that it may be part of the plan.
I'll see Eric Laurie. He's having to hit the pits in the 071. Not sure what that one's about, unfortunately. We'll have to keep an eye on him. Still see Randy Miner sitting in the pits as well in that 101 machine. So now what they're looking for, and what this has also heard, is a few drivers that are way off the back of the draft here. We'll have to see if they can work together. Say one of those being that 14 Trevor White, who just got his lap back. He's a couple seconds off the back. He's got a few drivers with him there. Looks like he's got the 30. Let me go through the group. Actually, looks like they just got around Charles Elmore in the 30 car. Another new face to the league here. But yeah, we mentioned the 3. Bobby Hash, he's right there. The 26, Paul Patterson. The 53 of Quabi Brooks. So these guys are going to have to try to work together here and try to see if they can close that gap. But it's going to be tough for them to do here, unfortunately.
Watching Eric Laurie in pits, I'm not sure what's happening here. His car looks fine. So.
Yeah, maybe one of those technical difficulties on the computer side or hardware side of things. But yeah, you're exactly right, Dale. Raymond Rittenauer, he's dropped to the back again here. I say it just might be the strategy here. He's got the 6 of Bud Steele with him, 21 of Brandon Pasolakos. I mean, he's got some good guys here with him. But you just wonder again about falling back too much here. Just in the off chance we do go green. I think he's just in the window here where he can maybe suck back up into that draft, but it's going to be a little bit tight, it looks like.
Yeah, and that's not really like the fuel saving method either, because he's going to have to be full throttle to get up to him. So not really sure what's going on. Another thing to mention too is like these cars go so fast here. If you're not stacked up on a restart, it's easy to lose a lot of time very quickly.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it looks like he has been able to get back up to that group here. So I think he's just about there. And so you got the Mitchell Wilkes there in the 71. And so he's right near the tail end of that group. And I believe this might be the same check here. Yeah, it's the 90 of John Brill. I say we talked about those paint schemes, and say we got another one here for John Brill. Kind of a mix here of Chase Elliott, Bill Elliott on that number 9 machine. Here you see a little bit of Napa, a little bit of Coors on the side as well. So John Brill running a little bit of a father-son scheme there on that number 9 machine.
I'll give you that it's a combination of the Bill Elliott, Chase Elliott, and I'm also going to say that it's kind of a throwback to Jimmy Johnson here last year, where he ran the 2-7 time scheme.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. You're exactly right. So, some pretty interesting paint schemes here tonight. It looks like that group with Raymond Rittenauer looks like they have been able to get back up there, and actually they're taking that momentum to the top here. You got Kevin Hash right behind him, Dale Willoughby there as well. You see this looks like the 18 there is maybe going to try to join that party as well. Also the 8 there of Jude Conrad. So it looks like they're starting to work together here and try to make something happen. Maybe try to move a little bit further forward here as they go. It looks like they kind of cycled back in again. But yeah, so up front, things still holding pretty steady here. Again, looks like the field's kind of singled out here just for the moment. Charles Johnson, he definitely wants to go, but just hasn't had anybody willing to kind of join the party with him yet.
Yeah, it looks like Todd Merkel's going to make a move with him as he goes up high.
Yeah, I think I could see Todd going with him there. I think they kind of have the similar strategies on the way they want to run. Obviously want to keep it clean, but I say every so often you say there's some of those drivers who are just like, I'm kind of done riding. Let's do something here. It looks like they're going to pick up Todd Siebels as well, so that's going to help that outside line even more here. Again, just got to make sure they keep an eye on those water oil temps. But yeah, these guys running really well right now. Also say one of the drivers that's always concerned about the commentator's curse, but Matt Wagner, he is right now just outside of top 10. It looks like in about the 11th position. He's running the old Carl Edwards Aflac paint scheme in that number 99 machine. So I say he's holding right now just outside of top 10. I said he's kind of with his open wheel buddy there, that 131 of Craig Forsyth.
Yeah, Matt doesn't race these full body cars a whole bunch. He doesn't necessarily. I mean, I won't say he doesn't enjoy them, but I know Matt very well, and he definitely prefers the open wheel cars.
Yeah, but I think this is one of the things I think he's just going to kind of improve his skill set all the more. So I mean, it sounds kind of silly. It's like, oh, it's just plate racing, but there's definitely a lot of things that you need to learn and be able to do in these plate races that you may not have in some of the other series. So say right now he is doing a really good job. You see the top three there, they all clear that number 1 to Gabe Butler. So you can now move that 9 to Charles Johnson to the lead with Todd Merkel, Todd Siebels here, second and third.
Yeah, and that just kind of shows you the power of getting together and going, because that was just 3 cars that made that move.
Yeah, they did a really good job. I think they unfortunately lost one of their guys that was kind of helping out there as well. But so at some point you got to kind of drop back to the inside, or else you risk losing all those spots. But that being said, though, we just crossed the halfway point in this one, so we are on 39 of 75, 37 to go. Does look like, unfortunately, Nicholas Winook has retired from the event in the 33 machine. Still got a handful of drivers on track that are multiple laps down as well. Showing 27 still in the lead lap, but Charles Elmer right now, he's not in a good spot. He's right now about 33 seconds behind, and I believe, unfortunately, without a draft as well. All right, we got some strategy calls going on here. Nope, we don't. We had some fakes. Let me go back and see what's going on here. Oh, we had some trouble. Mitchell Wilkes with some pretty heavy damage to his car. I thought I saw Raymond Rittenauer possible. Oh, yeah, Raymond Rittenauer as well. Let's go back and see what happened here, Dale. I'll let you keep an eye on things up front, because something happened there with the 87 and the 71, and saying they were already kind of off the back here. Oh, looks like there's... Well, looks like it may have started with the 71. Let me jump over to his car. Oh, yeah. There was already trouble before we got there. Looks like the 18 may have been kind of involved in this as well. Roy Grandy. I think Craig Forsyth had a bit of a stack of, big net code. That's never what you want to see. And then unfortunately just, they tried to react, and big hits for the two of them. Surprised no yellow there. And then what's just wound up happening was they kind of stacked up in front of the group with Raymond Rittenauer leading that one. So I say all those guys had to slow down a ton, but didn't bring out a yellow, unfortunately. So it's really put all of those drivers caught up in that one in a very bad position there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how many of them have already used a fast repair, what kind of position that's going to put them in.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So that's going to be possibly kind of a night done for some of those guys. That's kind of the risk versus reward. You kind of want to lay in the back and avoid troubles, but you just never know where trouble's going to find you. And unfortunately, we've seen more often than we'd like to with those netcode incidents as well. Obviously, there was a stack up in 3, but I mean those cars had a mile between them before it showed the contact with them. So, so I mean that's a big hurt for Raymond and Mitchell Wilkes and company. So, what that's really done though, I mean right now Bud Steele, he's right now kind of the last car in this lead pack, and he's kind of in danger of losing it if he's not too careful. So about 17 cars in this lead group. But now you have to go back another 12 seconds just about to get to Kevin Hash in the 03 machine, who's kind of leading that second group with some of those other drivers there. You see the 8 of Dude Conrad right there with him as well. James Ledford, Quabi Brooks, the 14 of Trevor White as well. So right now, just these guys just aren't in a good spot here, and you can see they're all kind of staggered off of each other as well, so they're definitely not making really good lap time. Also catching the 73 Mark Brown. He's hitting the pits. He's got some nose damage as well, so I think he's going to probably try to get that taken care of now. Fuel window here, Dale. We still have about, I'd say, 5 to 7 more laps. Maybe actually probably about 7 more laps before they need to make their next set of pit stops. That's going to keep them outside the window, though. So we're at 33 to go, 32 to go here. So I think at this rate, it's going to be still 2 more stops. So if you know you got to make a 2-stopper here still to get to the end, do you think about strategy to maybe pit a little earlier to avoid that big crowd like we saw that last time?
Yeah, I think you do. And just like we always talk about knowing the guys you race around and all that, like, though we're green, white checker TV, this league isn't known for green, white checker finishes. So I think you pit a little early, try to get that track position when everybody else pits, and go from there.
Yeah, it is a really good point. Yeah, you're exactly right. I say they kind of throw off the point of the name of the channel here, but we'll see. I say, because this one's been definitely a little bit dicier. I see the 45 giving Charles Johnson a big push. Right behind him, though, Kyle Hess giving Todd Merkel a big push down the front stretch as well. Say Matt Wagner, he's joined the party. John Burrill as well. As I say that, John Burrill slides up into the 81 of Todd Merkel. Say Todd does go around, somehow keeps it straight. Just now getting rolling again. Matt Wagner just wrong place, wrong time there in the 99 machine. You can see him slow down as well. The 131 Craig Forsyth. But somehow with all of this here, guys, no caution. I guess maybe they got it pointed back in the right direction quickly. Up, as I said, and now a caution is out. I think there's actually trouble further back here. Oh, yeah, big trouble with Todd Merkel again involved. Oh, gets a big hit from the 26 of Paul Patterson. So that will now bring out the caution, but it's going to hurt a lot of cars once again. Right outside that pit window here, but yeah, so we say we got some more trouble. So we'll go back and take a look at both incidents here. So we'll start with Todd Merkel with that first one. And unfortunately, I think that was just John Brill. Again, we talked about when you're kind of pinned to the inside line, it's easy to wash up. I think that's exactly what we're going to see here entering turn number one. Yeah, you see John Brill washes up a couple lanes, gets into the left rear of Todd Merkel. Nothing Todd can do. Matt Wagner, same thing for him. Just wrong place, wrong time for him as well. And then see somehow Bud Steele just misses that number 81 machine. But then you're going to see, we'll see what happened and cause a second incident, because you can see Todd's got just a ton of damage to that 81 machine. So he's going to try to get back up to speed here. So let's see what happened to Todd as he was building speed up in the 81. Oh, yeah, that just indecision, it looked like, honestly. Caught a lot of cars out there. Like you mentioned, the 8. I got one up and over on his lid there. I'm not sure which driver that is. It's unfortunate it doesn't have the car number on it. But yeah, so a lot of damage to a lot of these cars from that incident as well here. So and this is where Paul Patterson tried to avoid it. He caught into him as well. It doesn't look, well, Paul may have gotten away with it on his end, so not showing any damage on the car. But with that, though, we're going to have everybody here in the pits yet again. Charles Johnson going to lead them into the pits. So they're going to be pitting here, Dale, 30 to go. Let's say, again, still outside the field window, 29 to go now. But yeah, say this, I don't know. This is going to be interesting to see what strategy is going to be, and again, who's got anything left, because I think, like you mentioned, Dude Conrad, I think he was out of fast repairs. He's retired, it looks like, in that number 8 machine. Same thing goes for the 71 of Mitchell Wilkes. So attrition definitely has played a role in this one tonight.
Yeah, it's a real shame to see it, but it's what we got to deal with these types of tracks. I mean, Dude Conrad's definitely somebody, as we've seen, who can win. Mitchell Wilkes, Todd Merkel being junked this early, like, it's not really what you want to see.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, again, it's a new season. It's beginning of a new season. It's where things are usually a little more rough. And again, it's a lot of changes this season. The new team setup that we've got going on with the league. So I'll say I'm sure changed a little bit of the kind of the game plan for some of these drivers here. I say, like we've seen Raymond Rittenauer, he's been kind of just trying to cruise in the back more often than not. Where usually Raymond's one of those guys that's kind of just up front controlling things. So But yeah, right now, looks like Charles Johnson, he's still having a pretty solid night here. He's still back. He's able to get back out in front here after the pit stop cycle has completed. I see one driver staying out, it looks like, to try to maybe get the waiver. I'm trying to catch which car number that is. I think that's not the 101. Let's see, who is this? This might be Mark Brown in the 73. Let me see. Yeah, there. Okay, Mark Brown. So this will actually put Mark back on the tail end of the lead, or put him back on the lead lap. Right now he's showing tail end of the lead lap. So this would definitely help Mark to get that lap back, and just kind of put himself at least back in contention here. Pretty good group of guys here topping off, Dale, on this one to go. One thing they could be doing here is trying to put that little bit of extra fuel in, where maybe they only need, like, they pit this time and then the next stop they only need one can of fuel to get to the end, instead of maybe having to put that second can in. We've talked about that before, where that really slows down pit stops here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you almost cut the pit stop time in half, depending on what you're doing with tires and all that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But this is really shaking up the field here again. I mean, right now, kind of one of the only constants has been Charles Johnson here up front. I mean, you look at this top 5 now. I mean, you got the 20, he's back up there again. The 45, he's been doing well. He's back up front as well. But I'm looking at some of these other drivers that we have not really talked about very much, at least not in a good sense. The 53 of Quabi Brooks, he's now showing right around the top 5. 76 of Jim Brooks, he's right back into this one as well. Bud Steele, he's back into this now in that looks like the 3rd or 4th position himself. So looks like everybody's trying to get sorted out to figure out who's supposed to be in which lanes here. Even 14 and Trevor White, I mean, he just got the lucky dog that last caution previously. Now he's right there in the top 6 as well. So a lot of drivers here jumping to the front after that last incident.
Yeah, looking at the 6, he's got a little nose damage as well as the 53. So this restart's going to be interesting. Looks like Jim Brooks is clean though.
I think Jim may have used one of that faster pair already, so I think he's got to keep it clean to the end. I think the 53 as well of Quabi Brooks, I think he was involved in that big wreck at the beginning as well. So see Charles Johnson. Charles is going to go a little early here. I think he's going to catch a few of these guys by surprise. You can see him, the field spreading out just a little bit off this initial start here. So I think he's going to spread this field out just a little bit here as they get up to speed. I say it won't take long though before the draft's going to pull them all right back in together though.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll see the 6 car drop in behind Jim Brooks here in just a second. And then the top 4 is not going to have any damage. So.
Yeah, there they go. He squeezes right in immediately. So I'm trying to take a look and look. Yeah, like I said, it looks like a few drivers have maybe just a little bit of damage, but right now, though, you saw the 20. He tried to jump to the top and get around Charles Johnson. Just did not have the help from the 45, so he's going to try to probably tuck back in line. There he goes. He's going to tuck back in line in front of Jim Brooks there. So let's say Charles Johnson is going to keep up front here at the moment. Right now, it looks like about a 8-car breakaway for the moment at least.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll get reeled back in, but we've seen last season we've seen 5-car packs run away or catch the lead pack for that matter. So maybe we'll see something here.
Yeah, right now James Ledford's kind of in a tough spot there. He's kind of off in a zone there in that 48 car. So he doesn't really have anybody behind him or in front of him, so he's just going to have to try to do what he can to minimize the damage here. And I still see some rear end damage to the Raymond Rittenauer's machine, as actually leaders are coming up on the 9 of Matt Quick. I'm wondering if Matt, unfortunately, that damage may have, he might be out of faster pair, so the damage he had may be kind of all she wrote. Yeah, you see that 99 in pretty rough shape there, unfortunately. So Matt was in a really good spot there earlier on, so he's going to be mad at me for the commentator's curse there. We talked about him, then not long later he got caught up in that incident.
Yeah, and no fault of his own. He was just, like you said earlier, the wrong place at the wrong time.
So unfortunately, Jack, probably no backflip for Matt this evening. We will have to quiz him though and ask him if he does get wins, if he'll have any backflips. I'm not sure what his agility abilities are, but if it was me in that 99 car, there definitely would be no backflips because it would end poorly and I'd probably need some back surgery.
Oh, it'd be entertaining to say the least.
All the way to the hospital.
Jim Brooks up here running fourth. You know, he was running in the back in that second group earlier. Now he's right up here, you know, top 5.
Yeah, so again, he's going to have to keep it clean, though, so he's going to have to be smart about his strategy, not as I try to have a safe pit entry if we get to that green stop window. Again, I mean, still 24 to go, so I mean, we're still going to have one more pit stop plus probably a splash at the end. Just depends on how they want to split the cycle out here. But you're right, though. I mean, he's now right up into this one and saying he's in this lead pack, and actually the 48. You got to mention James Ledford. He was able to draft back up to that group, so he's back with them here, just inside. Or actually, where's James? Oh, actually, I'm sorry. James is the first car one down here, so James right now actually just kind of trying to hold on to be that first car one down. The second group, though, being led now by the 88 of Michael Spell. He's got Todd Merkel, Chad Wilkes with him. So right now, I'd say they're about 4 seconds off the lead, though, so they're not close enough to be able to close that gap. And the last time by, they were about 0.4 of a second slower than Charles Johnson.
Yeah, they're not. They're going to need another caution. They're not going to be able to do much with what they have.
So this is where the strategy comes into play. I mean, there's kind of two trains of thought here that you can do, Dale. You can pit this first one early. Maybe if you have a couple group of guys, maybe pit around. When would you make that stop? I'm trying to think if you splash now, or maybe in a few laps, and then you kind of pit with. Wait, am I doing this math all wrong? I think I'm doing this math all wrong. Now that I'm looking, I say we're approaching 20 to go. So actually, I'm sorry, this will be just one more stop to get to the end. That's what I'm trying to figure out here. So yeah, so what they could do is the pit window probably opens here in another 2 to 3 laps, where you maybe pit early and then just run it out to the end and hope it stays green. Or even if there's a yellow, you know everybody else is going to have to pit, then you kind of just stay out in front of them. So we'll see if that's maybe we see some mixed strategy, if there's any of these teammates that are hooked up together that maybe try going off cycle. And actually, as I say that, here's our first takers. It's like they were listening to me saying again, as they going with last year's teammates. You got Kevin Freeze, Gabe Butler, and Travis Turnmeyer. These three are going to pit here with coming to 21 to go. So it's going to be right inside the fuel window. I think their goal is to take the least amount of fuel possible. It's going to be a fuel-only stop for sure to try to get them to the end here. All right, we got some fans here, Dale, of Alberto Miguel Lopez in that number 20 car. And say so it looks like, let's say they're saying Peruvian power, so I guess he is from Peru, so you feel free to kind of give me some more insight. But yeah, right now, like you mentioned, Alberto, his first race over here, and I mean, he's been up front most of the evening. Started 25th, but I mean, he's been pretty much top 5, top 10 since we saw the Interstate Batteries car.
Yeah, no, he's been running up there, and he's already showed his intent to go forward. You know, he jumped out early in this run, wanting to go by everybody, and just couldn't get the help he needed.
I'm also noticing I feel like something must have gone wrong on this pit stop, because I'm seeing Kevin Freeze, Gabe Butler, Travis Turnmeyer all actually lapped down right now. So oh no, they weren't with the lead pack when they pitted. That's what happened. Oh, here comes some groups pitting. So you're going to try to catch which cars those are. I think Charles Johnson was one of them. Yep, there he is. He's got the 29 and the 45. It looks like just the 3 of them. So those 3 hitting the pits here together. Raymond Rittenauer, actually, he hits the pits as well, just a little further back, though. So now the trick for them is to try to be able to stay together during this pit stop cycle. However, though, we'll say they're just talking about it. And there's that 20, Alberto Miguel Lopez. He leads, I believe, his first lap tonight. And he is controlling this race here up front in that number 20 car.
First lap tonight, that'll be his first lap led in Area 51.
Yes, and just based on the pace that we've been seeing, it doesn't look like it'll be his last either. He has played his cards right. You see here, he's going to hit the pits now. He's got the 86 Kyle Hess, so they're both going to try to hit their pit stop again. This should be their final scheduled stop of the night. It looks like they got down to speed just in time. They got to be real careful about that. So that's going to cycle the lead now over to Jim Brooks in the 76 with Bud Steele right behind him, Kevin Hash, Trevor White, Quabi Brooks. So right now you've got just 5 cars in the lead lap in this main pack right now. And so what they're going to be doing here, again, we'll have to see, do they react to this, or do they just kind of keep going as they are? Just going to really depend on what their lap times are looking like.
Yeah, I mean, it's really the fall off is going to make the decision, at least in my mind, because they can go quite a bit further, but they have shorter time, to catch up is the inverse of that. And you have Kevin Freese and company behind them. If they're catching them, then I say pit now.
Yeah, so one thing they do have going from, you see they're about to catch Charles Johnson, Chad Wilkes there. You see Chad, he's going to jump to the top side. And this is where things get a little dicey because you're going to have drivers that want to fight to be that first car, either one lap down or last car in the lead lap. So going to be a lot of strategy calls on this one as well. You see some of the cars starting to try to merge back on track. And actually, you got to mention Kevin Freese and them because you can see they're actually starting to chase this lead pack back down. They're still a lap down, but at the same time, they're actually in a pretty good spot here to be able to catch up to that lead pack. But now that I see how many cars right now, because Dale, there's only, looks like 9-10 cars on the lead lap at the moment. You see another pit stop cycle coming through here. Also, the 14 gets squirrely. He does catch the wall a little bit. Gets down to speed still, I think, though. That's going to be Kevin Hash, Bud Steele, the 14 Trevor White trying to find his way into the pit stall there. Quabi Brooks as well. But actually, if I'm Jim Brooks here, maybe you do stretch it because if we do get a yellow, you've got a lot of cars trapped a lap down, and they'll get the lap back with the wave around, but they'll still be restarting behind you.
No, absolutely, and judging by that last pit entrance, it's very, very possible. These guys still got to exit pit into traffic, and Jim could be the big benefactor of all this.
Yeah, so right now lead pack actually only has, is just Jim Brooks as the leader in this main pack here. The rest of these guys are either one lap or more down, or as you see Charles Johnson tail end of the lead lap in that number 9 machine. Second place is that 81 of Todd Merkel, who's closing the gap here. He's actually with Kevin Freese and company. So he's going to get back into this mix. Actually, as I say, they're going to waste no time, jump to the top here and try to make momentum work for them. I think what you're seeing from these guys is they don't want to be trapped a lap down here. They're going to try to work their way to the front here. You see him, just sneak by. You see Jim Brooks. He's actually going to try to block the momentum here. He's getting dicey. 3 wide, almost 4 wide there on the entry to 3.
Yeah, I think that was the right move by Jim to block that momentum and try to keep him behind him to keep him that lap down.
Yeah, so I say here comes Charles Johnson. He's going to try to pick this draft up as well. He's going to try to do what he can. See a big push from the 25. That's going to probably clear him as well. But now again, we got to be careful. You see a big move there, though. I think that was the 101. Yeah, it was. He tried to clear Matt Wagner, then got to the top as quick as he could, not to mess anything up there. So good heads up by him. And then again, a few drivers that were just exiting the pits, trying to get cycled back up with this lead pack here. And actually, now with this all going on, Todd Merkel, he's going to take over the lead here, entering 3.
Yeah, I was just looking at the fuel windows. I think the 76, the 81, and the 7, as well as the 21 are Brandon Passalacqua.
Caution is out. That's going to change a lot of things here, Dale. It's all going to be about who was where when the caution came out, because again, leader was the 81 of Todd Merkel, so it's exactly what we just talked about. Unfortunately, I think I see the 90 of John Brill may have been involved in that one. Yeah, his motor is popped on that machine. So this is going to trap a few guys laps down and force them to take wave rounds. And then unfortunately also some guys are going to be able to kind of just get waved around on their own. Let's see what happened here. So we're looking at the 9 there with the 88, the 20, and the 87 here. So watching the 20 there of Alberto Miguel Lopez on the inside here. He's with Michael Spell. Let me speed it up again a little bit. Oh, actually, the 9 and the 87 make contact. That it just sends the 9 right into the side of the 20. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, as we've seen that already once tonight. I think that's where the contact happened. You see at that point, Alberto's nothing he can do. The car there's just no controlling that car to go from the apron to the banking with that high rate of speed. So also a big hit for the 20 car. Looks like that motor is done as well as the 9s. And so that's unfortunate what brought up the caution. He was having a very good evening until that happened. So yeah, unfortunate though. He definitely is going to be one to keep an eye on though in the future, because he was making the right moves at the right time, it really looked like.
Yeah, but again, like you said, it's just one of the things. He's not doing anything wrong, and he just kind of gets caught up in everything going on around him. So it's definitely a tough break for him tonight.
All right, so there's some confusion going on in the back, it looks like. See some drivers are pitting I'm a little confused here as I see Todd Merkel, Jim Brooks, they've stayed out. And if I think they're having, I think they missed the pace car. So right now the pace car is all the way back here with about James Ledford. It looks like he's caught the pace car, but Jim Brooks and company, they're in on the 81. They're miles ahead here. So I mean, at this point, they're gonna have to probably just come to a stop if they need to be waiting for the pace car here, because they got to pit. I mean, if they stay out here, they can only go about 5 more laps before they need to make their green flag pit stop. You see Gabe Butler, he gets waved around. It looks like. So I say a little bit of looks like timing and scoring confusion going on here as well.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, they're only rolling about 50 mile an hour, but I would definitely be coming to a stop because they're coming up to pit lane entry.
So we'll see if they pit. I mean, I almost think you just have to pit. I mean, if you know it's a glitch in iRacing, I think you just go in and do it because, like I mentioned, right now I think Kevin Freeze is actually he's the one leading this pace car. So my concern is if they get this one to go, I believe it's going to come to the one to go here this time around. This is going to mess things up here. As you see, they have now pretty much come to a stop on the front stretch. So we'll watch to see where Kevin Freeze kind of comes in relation to them. Because for Kevin, he was ahead of the leaders when the caution came out, so he was able to kind of just wave around. And yeah, there you go. CC, the 50, the 81, the 76, and the 17. They're all coming to a stop here on the front stretch, try to get cycled in behind the pace car. But what they might need to consider doing is if this caution does come go one to go here, they may need to extend this caution one lap to try to get everybody right back on the same thing. And yeah, sure enough, here's the one to go already. So yeah, something's all sorts of messed up here.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the iRacing scoring. I kind of figured it was going to happen this way. Yeah, that's just tough. As an admin in the league, I don't know how I would handle that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. It just depends on was it a mistake by the 81 and the 76? Because it just depends on where the caution came out. It came out just before they crossed the line. And so they didn't realize that they had already caught the pace car, so they went around at full speed kind of a situation. So they're working on getting reordered here. I believe it's going to be Todd Merkel, Jim Brooks on the front row. And I'm also seeing the 51 of Travis Turnmeyer showing him as being retired from the event. But what this has really done, though, Dale, is all those drivers that wanted to take the wave round, they've really kind of got hosed by this because you can see they've all been still trapped a lot down. Yeah, actually, here we go. Lights are back on the pace car again. But yeah, this is really, I think, kind of thrown a lot of things for a loop here. So I would suspect we're going to see some drivers like the 81 and the 76 need to pit. But a lot of those guys from 10th on back here, they're probably banking on getting that wave around, and now that's kind of out of the picture for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't know how they're going to play it. We've not really seen anything like this before.
Well, it looks like they're staying out. I think it's one of those things that kind of stuck with what they have. So with them staying out, I mean, it does kind of wind up being a wash now that I'm looking at this because with them staying out, it's going to be able to, they wouldn't be getting the wave around anyway. So in that sense, it's how it would be. But the problem for those two, the 81 and the 76, is they've run 20 laps since their last pit stop. There's no way they can only go about probably 2 or 3 more laps probably, and then they're going to have to pit under green. So they're going to have to hope for a quick caution, I'm supposing, to either bring them back to the field here if a caution does come out, or be able to pit under yellow before they have to pit under green.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see a caution coming out that quick. I mean, I don't know that they're going to make it 3 laps because they got to spin these motors back all the way up and get all that speed, you know.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be interesting. So right now our front row is going to be Todd Merkel, Jim Brooks. Both of these drivers, though, they do need to still make a pit stop. I think they got kind of caught off when the caution came out because there were a few drivers that did pit under that caution. Dale Willoughby, Charles Johnson, Mark Brown, Brandon Pasalacqua, they all pitted there under green. So I'm kind of thinking that Todd and Jim just may have not realized where the pace car was and didn't check up in time. So unfortunately, may have had a little bit of a mistake there. And Some insider info for you all for that number 20 of Alberto Miguel Lopez. Apparently he's having some motorized alpaca issues, so say not a good night for that 20 to have that happen after that incident. That being said, though, really appreciate you all joining us here on Green White Checker TV. It's really great to have you guys watching, supporting your drivers and everything. So hope you're enjoying it. Definitely look forward to having you the rest of Season 7 here, supporting everybody. That said, though, pace car is in. It's going to be up to Todd Merkel when he wants to go. And Jim Brooks is going to have to find his way down as fast as possible because, again, they're going to have to be pitting here in just a few more laps.
Yeah, they don't have a choice. 21 laps on this run, a couple of them under caution, obviously, but you got Kevin Freeze up there, 13 laps on this run, running second currently. He can go all the way.
Yeah, he can. It's going to be tight, though. If we do get into that potential of the green white checker finishes, though, he's going to be kind of hard pressed to make it to the end. You see, Jim was able to get to the inside. So, and now at this point, the question is going to be for Todd Merkel: when do you pit? Do you just stretch as far as you can, or do you just jump in as right away here? I'm thinking you probably just want to go a couple more laps, hope for a yellow, and not have to worry about pitting under green. So we'll keep an eye on them. Hopefully they work together with the 81 and the 76, and it looks like they both still do stay out this time by. So right now we're going to come across here 8 laps to go. But as you can see, though, with everything that's gone on, only 8 cars here on the lead lap.
Yeah, my concern is now they haven't got good fuel data for a few laps, being under caution, for 4 laps. So all that's got to update, and I just hope they're watching it closely, because if they run out of gas, it'll be essentially like blowing a motor, and it could really stack things up behind them.
Oh yeah, no. So if you start sputtering in front of the field here, bad things are definitely going to happen. So you got to hope you got a crew chief like a Ronnie Reiser on the pit box making the right calls for you and telling you when to jump in there. As you see, oh, big movement there. You see. And actually, you see Kevin Freeze, he jumps to the top of Charles Johnson. I think this is going to be the kind of the hints here. You're going to see these two hit the pit road. Nope, as I said, no, they stay out. I figured they were coming in just by the way that the 25 and the 9 went there. But you can see, yeah, they're kind of getting just blown out of the water right here. So they're on lap number 23 since they last pitted. Again, a few caution laps in there as well. But, I mean, that's only going to gain you so much.
Yeah, like I say, both of them have been out there leading. So burning fuel that way, and then just happen to get back up to full speed burns a lot of fuel as well.
Yeah, almost did have a big moment there. The 40 of James Lifford got into the back of 17 of Chad Wilkes. They're trying to give him a bump, maybe just wasn't quite square, and that 17 had a big wiggle there. So the next thing, though, is when they do make their pit stops, they got to be careful not to slow down in front of the field too abruptly and not get run over. So obviously in NASCAR, they kind of wave their hand out the window kind of a thing. So these guys will be pulling up their voice chat, letting them know, hey, we got to pit this time. Because, I mean, they're on lap number 24, and like we said, Dale, there's just no way that they can make it to the end here.
Yeah, and unless we miss something, it's not possible.
I mean, they might just go in kind of ultimate fuel save mode. You can see Todd Merkel, he's really fallen off the back of those top 2, so I think he's trying to save as much as humanly possible. I mean, we talked about the fuel window being in the low 20s, and I mean, right now they're on number 24 here, again, including the L is going to be coming around to 5 to go, so we'll watch these two once more here. And again, somehow they still stay out one more lap.
Yeah, I'll be very, very impressed if they can make it. I mean, like I say, unless we miss something, I don't see how it's possible. That being said, at the 5 to go mark, they know from this point whether they can make it or not.
Yeah, saying it's all about to kick off anyway. In front of him, you can see the 9 Charles Johnson. He's jumped to the outside of the 25 of Kevin Freeze. However, Kevin's got Chad Wilkes working with him. Charles has the 45 of Todd Siebel's right now working with him. Todd actually is a lap down, so again, a lot of these cars got trapped a lap down with that incident. So, you see, close there to the 29 machine there. So I actually haven't really mentioned Nick Manfredi. Say apologies to Nick. It's just so much been going on. And again, 76 and the 81 still stay out.
Yeah, Matt Wagner takes the apron so they can get around him. But that's sketchy. If anybody's directly beside him when they go to the corner, he has to come up.
Yeah, so luckily he had a nice little gap there, and he went straight to the top as soon as he had that opening. So good heads-up driving by Matt Wagner. So it's honestly, it's almost as stressful or more stressful when you're off the pace trying to stay out of the way of the leaders, especially when it's crunch time here at the end of these races.
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy who causes a caution. Guys are racing for the win, for the lead, and all that. You just don't want to be that guy. So
yeah, I mean, definitely business going to be picking up here soon. So right now, top two, Charles Johnson, Kevin Freeze, they've kind of snuck away. Here comes the 48 James Ledford. He's hitting the pits, which I would suspect is going to have to. Yep, here comes Jim Brooks. Here comes Todd Merkel. So they went as far as they could. Somehow they got to 3 to go. I mean, that was 26 laps. So what they're going to be hoping for as competitors is they want to see a caution call before they get to the 1 to go. But what we've got right now, though, is, I mean, we've got Charles Johnson leading, Kevin Freeze in second. But then we got to find Brandon Pasalacqua. He's in the 3rd position. He's a ways back, though, in that 21. He's going to have to try to hustle up to get to the draft. Same thing goes for Dale Willoughby. I think Dale's got a little bit of nose damage, so I think he's in a bit of trouble here with where he is on track. So we'll keep an eye on that. But leader's going to be coming here out of turn number 4, and that's going to bring us to 2 to go here.
Yeah, I just think it'll be too little too late for the 76 and the 81 machines. So they're definitely going to get gobbled up by this pack here.
Yeah, their only hope is to have a caution before the leader kind of, like you said, comes up here and gobbles these guys up, because they're coming out of turn number 4 now, getting up to speed. But these guys are coming through about 2:35 right now. You see they just got around Todd Merkel. Now you see Jim Brooks. He's going to be next in line. But the problem is some of these guys are already a lap down right there in that pile. So, yeah, they just blow on by Jim Brooks there. So what these top two here are hoping for is we stay green to the end. Because if they can keep it under control here and get to that white flag, they're going to race it out between the two. Well, I'd say between the two of them, but you know someone's going to get involved with make the right push at the right time.
Yeah, I'm sure those moves are already being set up as we speak. You know, coming around to 1 to go, we'll see something down the backstretch or off of 4.
Yeah, so now it's going to be all up to that number 9, Charles Johnson. See if he can find a way to hold off the 25 of Kevin Freeze. Problem is, like I said, he's going to have some help behind him. He's going to have to probably try to throw some blocks. But right now, Kevin Freeze still not really showing his hand as of yet. You see one jump into the top there. Again, I believe that is still a lap down car, though. So right now, these two are the top 2 here. You see Kevin thinking about the outside line. I see Kevin Hash. Kevin could go with that. Yep, there he goes with the 25. This is the move right now. Then Charles just doesn't have anybody behind him to help at this point. And I think this is going to open that door for Kevin Freeze to get this win here. And out of front stretch, yep, Kevin Freeze going to get the win over Charles Johnson. Big crash behind him, though. I believe Brandon Pasalacqua, he's going to bring it home in that 3rd position there. Just didn't have enough to suck up to the leaders there at the end. It's going to put Dale Willoughby in the 4th position in that number 7 machine. And then Gabe Butler, he got that lucky dog. Wasn't able to get up there, but he's going to end things here with a top 5. And then somehow, I believe, last car on the lead lap going to be that number 73 of Mark Brown in that 6th position. I think he's going to take that, Dale, because I'm not sure if that happened from the incident there at the very end, but that car is missing the whole front clip of it.
What a finish. I mean, you've seen guys involved in earlier wrecks coming up, finishing, you know, top 3, top 5. Charles Johnson leading the lot. What a finish.
Yeah, I'll say definitely kind of a chaotic end there. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of unhappy drivers with how that one kind of ended up here at the end. But I'll say Kevin Freeze, he's going to be happy. I'd say he's kind of taking back over where he left off in that 25 machine, getting the win here tonight at iRacing Superspeedway. And like you mentioned, I'd say we might be Green White Checkers TV, but I'd say they're able to avoid having that happen. So they'll watch that number 25 here burn down on the front stretch. He hasn't found a way to pop the motor yet. He's working on it, but he hasn't got there yet, Dale.
Oh, if anybody can do it, Kevin can. It's a story as old as time for us.
There it goes. He found a way. All right, well, with that, we got to grab our top 3 here. So it'll be really interesting to say, and one of the bonuses we're going to have is one of these drivers is actually an admin as well, so we'll be able to get some insider info from him. So we're going to start off with that number 21 of Brandon Pasalacqua here. Say Brandon started in the 18th position, able to bring it home in that 3rd spot. Was obviously kind of a couple, well, the first, obviously that first incident towards the beginning, a huge incident there, cost a lot of drivers some faster pairs right off the bat. But then I'd say the other thing that really shook things up, I believe, was that last caution where it seemed like it kind of maybe a few drivers got caught out for when the pits were open or weren't open, or maybe where the pace
Yep.
car was, because that seemed to really burn Todd Merkel, Jim Brooks there at the end.
For sure. Yeah, there's a lot of little weird scoring glitches that were happening throughout the race tonight, and then that last one didn't allow Jim Brooks and Todd to come down and come pit road and get fuel. So really unfortunate for them. I feel bad when it comes down to something like that. It's out of their control, out of our control. But it's iRacing. Sometimes that happens, and what we gotta do is just bounce back next week and try to figure out ways to get around that.
Yeah, so take us through your race. Honestly, I'm trying to keep track of who was on what with the faster pairs and everything there. Did you have to burn yours after that first incident?
Yeah. So I started pretty deep in the field, 18th, and I got on the high side, and the high line was moving pretty well, and got off the P10 on the third lap, which was great. And then next, that incident happened and took out a lot of us. So after lap 4, I had to use my fast repair. So I was just trying to play catch up. I also had to tow immediately. My engine wouldn't turn, so I got put down a lap down. So the majority of the race for me was getting back onto the lead lap and trying to figure it out that way. Finally got back on the lead lap, and again with some of the scoring glitches, we're trying to figure out who has to go in front of who. And I have a new shifter, and I accidentally hit down on the downshifter when I was trying to let people go by when I was slowing down, and I cranked. It was too many RPMs, and then put me about 20 seconds back of the lead pack from there. So became really fortunate when that yellow came out towards the end to help me get back some track position, and just from there was trying to keep it as clean as possible and take whatever I could get.
That lap 3 incident, Brandon, you took one of the hardest licks I've ever seen in iRacing. I'm interested in what that felt like in your rig.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was telling my teammates, I was like, I thought I had gotten through the crash, and everybody went high and low, so I'm going around turn 1, I believe it was, thinking I'm good to go. And the worst ones, I think, are the ones where you think you're by, and the next a car just stores you on the left or right side. And I think the 87 trying to catch their car came up, hit me, and it was a quick one into the wall. This is real life, definitely would have been hurting a little bit more. So, but nonetheless, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so that last run there at the end, was it just that you didn't have any help to be able to try to get up to Kevin and Charles there at the end, or were you still nursing a little bit of damage?
I was nursing damage. I mean, I had 44 seconds of repair that I had gotten done. But for me, I had no business being up there at that point in time. At the end of the race, so I was just happy to get a top 10 if that's what I could salvage, and it just worked out to where the iRacing glitch happened. Todd and Jim had to go down pit road, and I didn't care where I finished after that. I thought that the pack between the 2 leaders, Charles and Kevin, along with all the lap cars, I honestly thought there was going to be a wreck. So I just dropped back completely off that lead pack and said, no, you're not supposed to do this in racing. I was like, I'll take a 3rd place today and and go from there. So.
Well, you got to think about big picture. Obviously, we got the new chase format that we're going to have after the 9 races. Got the 2 races for the top 8, then bring it to the final 4 at the finale. And of course, then you got the team side of things as well. So, like you said, getting a 3rd place finish, you never know how those final laps are going to go. So to be able to bring it home, still bring it home in 3rd, it's obviously good points for yourself, good points for the team. So you definitely could go a long ways in the overall championship.
Yes, absolutely, and it was great. It was the whole new team dynamic. I think is going to be a lot of fun for everybody. It's going to give us some more incentives to work with other drivers and kind of figure it out, and hopefully that makes it so it's much more competitive on the track. So, the guys came up with a really good idea there, and I'm super pumped about it. So I do want to thank everybody at Area 51. The first race of the season, you always want it to be a great one. I thought we did a pretty good job tonight. Gail and Dale, I want to thank you guys for up there in the booth. You guys do an excellent job. And then I get to shout out some teammates for once in the Superspeedway series. So Dale, I think he finished 4th at Willoughby. And then unfortunately, our teammate Roy got taken out halfway through. But all in all, we had a good day and had a lot of fun tonight for sure.
Yeah, that's a great start for you guys to get things going for a third and 4th place finish for the team. That's probably going to be pretty much top of the charts on the team side of things. So yeah, you guys with those top 2, taking the top 2 driver standings, that's going to be a great start for you guys in that team championship.
Absolutely, yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be great to look at something other than just single drivers and see it from a team aspect. So super exciting.
All right, well, great run, Brennan. It's good to see you get the finish you're looking for. We'll be seeing you again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, gentlemen. Have a good night.
All right, that is the 21 of Brendan Pasalaco grabbing that 3rd place finish. So we're going to have to jump over now to that number 9 machine of Charles Johnson. Charles, what we mentioned, Dale, he was one of those ones that was kind of up front in the mix pretty much all evening, able to stay out of the trouble, made the right calls, and was in position at the end. But unfortunately, with these plate races, there's times where it feels like being that first car on that last lap, it just isn't always the place to be. And unfortunately, that was the case tonight, Charles. You did everything right, just didn't have the help you needed there at the end to make that charge to get that win here tonight, but still able to bring home second.
Yeah, I knew I was a sitting duck. All my teammates got caught up in something early in the race, and I was pretty much by myself. So I tried to stay up front as much as I could and just see where I ended up. Second place is pretty good to be by yourself, you know.
Yeah, that's about all you can ask for. Obviously, I play a little bit of a part in that one, but your team of all of them, obviously the easiest to figure out who is where. So you guys got the matching paint jobs, so it'll be easy to keep an eye on you guys week in, week out. But take us through your race. Like I said, I think you were kind of ahead of all the trouble for the most part this evening. Obviously, you made the green flag pit stop, and you're able to cycle through right in front of Jim there to be able to stay on that last car in the lead lap, which I know is critical in case of a caution. To be able to kind of keep you in contention to be able to see how the race obviously shook out there at the end. But anything that stood out to you more so than usual?
Yeah, when I came out in front of Jim, I was driving more in my mirror than I was looking down the front of my car because I wanted to stay in front of him in case a caution did come out. I knew he was going to have to pit in the next couple of laps, so I was just trying to stay in the last car on the lead lap there. But really fun race, exciting race. I love that track. People need to get used to holding their car down in those turns because it does want to jerk you up to that center lane when in corner entry. I noticed a lot of the drivers are letting the car jerk up there, but they'll get used to it as we race it more. It's on the schedule this season pretty heavy, so they just got to get used to racing at that speedway.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the trickier plate tracks. Obviously, like I said, I think I've heard it referred to as like kind of a Dover on steroids, where you kind of drop down into the corner and then bounce on out of it. So, like I said, it's really easy, especially when you're on the inside line. If you're not leading that group, you almost enter turn 1 and turn 3 a little bit blind on the entry. How was that for you when you weren't leading the pack? How were you able to kind of adjust to make sure you could kind of get that entry, not wash up, and also make sure you didn't obviously catch the apron and bounce up that way?
I think it's just muscle memory now. I've ran it enough I know exactly where my car needs to be on corner entry. But if you drove into that thing, you're right. It's just like Dover. If you drove into it and let go of your steering wheel, it'll take you right down to the yellow line and then push you, just throw you up to the wall. So you just have to get used to that. But yeah, I think now it's just, I've ran it enough. I understand where my steering wheel needs to be on quarter entry and where to hold it to maintain the bottom of that track around,
No, you definitely did a good job here tonight. So kept yourself in contention all night long. Another good run for you tonight, Charles. Looking forward to seeing you the rest of the season. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully your teammates will have some better luck. That way you guys can keep going after it on the team side of things, of course, as well as we had mentioned. That's going to be that's one of the big changes we got going on. But obviously, great start for you though, getting that second place tonight. So definitely want to give you any chance for thanks and shout outs.
Yeah, man, I want to thank Green White Checker TV. You guys do an awesome job every week, and appreciate you keeping me some cars painted. I depend on you for that as well. And man, I love your work that you do on these cars. And thanks to Area 51 for all they do. Put on a great show tonight. I hope all the fans enjoyed it. And thanks to all the competitors for coming out racing. I think overall, really good group of competitors to race with. Nobody I seen tonight was just completely crazy. Everybody's trying to protect each other and have some good, fun, clean racing. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season for sure.
Yeah, no, it was a really good race, especially for the beginning of the season. Like I said, some new names, some new faces, and also some regular faces, but in a different capacity. We said we saw some Indy drivers running here tonight as well. But yeah, like I said, some of the incidents, they're just things that happen. You can't really control a blown motor in front of the field. That's just as bad luck, and just you're never going to be able to react quick enough to things like that. So I'm in agreement with you. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how this season plays out. But A great run for you to start it off, Charles, and look forward to seeing what the rest of the season is going to bring for you.
Sure. And one last thing, I would like to say congratulations to Kevin on his win. Man, that guy is a hell of a super speedway racer and cup car racer altogether. So, congratulations to Kevin as well.
Yeah, he's a beast. But I say, just keep yourself in contention. You'll be able to beat up on him when the time comes.
Sure.
All right, Dale, that's going to leave us to say, and that kind of leads us right into it, is that number 25 of Kevin Fries. Started in second, finishes here on top tonight. So you can change the playoffs, you can change the team strategies, but you're not going to change that 25 being at the front or near the front when it's time for the payout. And let's say you're able to get that job done again here tonight, Kevin, getting the win. Kind of a crazy one, let's say, not what we've seen with some of the previous races with everything with the pit stop strategies and unfortunately a couple big incidents. But you're able to find your way up to the front when it counted at the end.
Yeah, this one certainly was interesting, especially with that caution falling when it did. It seemed to jumble a lot of things up, and when I got behind the pace car and I saw 3/4 of the field pretty much was a lap down, that made things a little easier for me.
Yeah, so it definitely caught a few drivers out. I mean, we obviously most notably was Todd Merkel, Jim Brooks. I don't know if they just maybe missed where the pace car was and didn't pit when they needed to. So we saw a few drivers that were able to get in, like Brandon and Dale. And I know Gabe got the wave around there. So they were able to get through and get clean okay. But so I mean, it wasn't obviously a kind of a cut and dry night for you. You had to work hard to get to the front with the pit strategies, get yourself back up with the lead pack. This is one of those tracks where even when you pit under green, even if it's kind of a short fill, you still have to really hustle because it seems like it's really easy to lose a lap, I should say, during the cycle. So it's kind of that risk versus reward on making those short pits.
Yeah, no matter what here, you're going to go a lap down, even for a short stop, just because of the track speed. And I think for Todd and Jim, they got caught because you're going so fast. You sometimes just miss where that pace car is, and by the time you're slowed up, you're straight away and you're waiting for it. And it's just so hard to keep track of, and then you also close in on stop cars a lot faster.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it was a challenge to say the least. Obviously, you were able to stay up in front before the big one happened, if I'm not mistaken. So, I'm sure you're relieved to see that in your rearview mirror there at towards the beginning of the race there off of 3 and 4.
Yeah, one of the big wrecks, I had just made it into the pits, and it happened directly behind me. So I was grateful to dodge that one. And then the other one was in turn 1 and 2. It happened just prior to the other caution coming out. I missed that by inches.
Oh, and you're right. Actually, that's right. There was the pit entry incident where, I think it was Eric Laurie. He had some contact, and I think Dale mentioned. I think you mentioned where he may have gotten to the back of you a little bit there. Did you? I'm not sure if that was the case, or did you have to take a fast repair from that, or were you actually able to escape that one unscathed on the pit entry?
No, the pit entry that used my fast repair, so I was just trying to play it smart for the most part because things were getting a little dicey. These cars, when they unload off the corner, they get a little squirrely, and you really got to have a handle for it. So I was just trying to play it safe for the entire race after that.
Yeah, so obviously we know all about your domination with your regular teammates, I should say. Obviously, again, a big change with the team dynamic. So how was that for you tonight? To say I'll have to go through a list and find your teammates here on my group again here. So you got Chad Wilkes, Paul Patterson, and John Brill. So what was it on your side? Kind of how did you feel like everything worked out, and how has it changed your dynamic?
We were running together. We were trying to pit together. It's just so hard here also to get your pit stops organized because the more cars you have, you're bound to have an incident because you're going from 230 down to 65 for pit entry. But Chad was pushing as much as he could, and then the one time he blew up right in the middle of the pack. And I've run with Chad before. I haven't had a chance to run too much with John. Both good guys.
Yeah, so that'll be the fun part too, is to be able to kind of learn and get to know some of the guys maybe a little bit better that you don't you race with week in week out, but maybe you aren't with them in Discord or things like that week in week out. So I'll say I'll be curious to see how it all pans out. I mean, obviously you still got to do the best you can for your own individual title, because I'll say there's more than just the. I mean, obviously there is the team title, so it will be the $200 split between the 4 drivers. But again, I mean, season champion gets $150, so you're off to a good start there, getting the win here tonight. I'll have to double check on the playoff side of things too, if it's a win and you're in, or if it's still going to be just the top 8 in points. So I'll have to check on that one. But I mean, yeah, so a great start for you, and definitely want to give you the floor though for any thanks shouts you like to give.
Yeah, shout out to Area 51 coming up with this new thing. There's a couple things we're gonna have to all work out. Big shout out to my former, I guess, teammate Mr. Hash for giving me that final push there at the end.
Yeah, so you still gotta have the friends at the end of these races to be able to make the right moves at the right time, and so you did that, made the moves outside of Charles at the right time, able to jump to the front, and be able to hold off Charles there to get the win. So yeah, congrats again, Kevin. Like I said, you can change pretty much everything you want, but when you can't really change the driver behind the wheel, and you got it done again here tonight. So enjoy the win, and look forward to catching you again next week.
Thank you, and I hope you have a good night.
Thank you, sir. You as well. All right, Dale, so that is our race winner, Kevin Freeze, and that number 25 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. As I said, obviously, he's been one of the kind of the perennial front runners at these super speedway races, and again, able to get it done tonight. It wasn't as cut and dry as we've seen him be able to do in some previous races, but when it was time for the payout, he was there when it mattered.
Yeah, absolutely. There's guys that are just great at super speedways, both in sim racing and in real cup racing and all that. And Kevin is one of those guys, obviously.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So with that, though, we got to pull up our final results. So as you can see, our top 10 here tonight, Kevin Freeze getting the win over Charles Johnson. Brandon Pastelacco, as you mentioned, he kind of just rolled out to the back a little bit, try to make sure he didn't get caught up in anything. Dale Willoughby, Gabe Butler, they finish up with a top 5. Mark Brown in the 6th position there. And again, a lot of drivers getting trapped a lap down with that craziness at the pit stop at the end. Leading that group is going to be Kevin Hash, Bud Steele, Michael Spell, Kyle Hess. And 11th through 20th here, you've got Quabi Brooks for his debut with the Super Speedway Cup Series in 11th. Todd Siebel's a good start for him as well in the 45 car, gets 12th. Jim Brooks, that late pit stop, still able to finish in 13th, so could have been a lot worse for him. Robbie Richards in 14th, Raymond Rittenauer 15th. Todd Merkel also in that pit stop situation. He drops to 16th. And we mentioned Bobby Hash, Trevor White, again, a couple new faces to the Super Speedway Series. Craig Forsyth as well, 19th, and then Chad Wilkes in 20th. 21st through 30th, these drivers just unfortunately didn't have the nights they were looking for, caught up in incidents, and just not the nights they were hoping for. You got James Ledford, Paul Patterson, Charles Elmore, Eric Laurie, Randy Miner, Matt Wagner, Nick Monfretti, Travis Turnmeyer, Alberto Miguel Lopez, and John Brill. And the remainder of these ones definitely did not have the nights they were looking for. Dude Conrad, we saw him up front a lot and early, just unfortunately the fast repairs, he had burned his up and got caught up in incidents, not of his doing, but just unfortunately wrong place, wrong time. As similar for Mitchell Wilkes, Roy Grandy, Dean Wilkinson, and Nicholas Winook. So yeah, so again, I mean, that's race number 1 of 12 for the Area 51 Super Speedway Cup Series. Tonight we had iRacing Super Speedway. Again, we'll be cycling between this, Daytona, and Talladega. I'll say again, first 9 races going to kind of determine the top 8 in the for the playoffs, and then we'll have 2 races that's dwindled that 8 to 4. But Kevin Freeze getting the job done tonight, getting the win this evening. So I really want to thank you all for joining and watching. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have any comments, suggestions, I'm always open to them. So please don't hesitate to get a hold of me. But yeah, I really want to thank everybody for watching and being a part of this. And of course, got to thank Area 51. Again, Season 7 already with this league. They are going quickly with everything. It's crazy to think it's been already, this will be the 7th season. Dale, as always, it's a pleasure to have you with me here. Makes it a lot of fun to be able to share this with you. But yeah, looking forward to next week. Of course, we'll be back also on Tuesday for the Indy Series with Steve Gottschalk will join me in the booth. Looking forward to that one as well. So as always, though, if you can, please try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and until Tuesday, have a good night.